Welcome, everyone. Glad everybody could make it tonight. Just a few of you in here, which is fine. I bet a lot of people think that I was taking on the Watts case or jumping on the Watts bandwagon. That's not what I'm doing at all in the slightest bit. As a matter of fact, it's counterproductive to what I am actually trying to do. So, and we're going to talk about that most definitely. Hello for the love of books. Margot, I'm glad you could catch it. What's up, Cherry? Well, I'm going to get into that, Mr. Harlan. I'm going to get into that. I'm just going to let the chat fill up just a little bit. I don't expect it to fill up too much. It is Friday night. Rowan Owens, I agree with you. I agree with you again. But it's interesting. It's actually pretty fantastic, I think, that right now this attorney has put out a statement, basically, kind of more or less of a game plan as to how he plans on going about this, and I think that's pretty fascinating. And I think it's really cool that he's kind of letting us know. Here. All right. Just trying to find his community post here. And we're going to take a look at that, and I'm going to read that. Hello, Valerie of 4. Hello, Pearl Clutcher. Oh, Mary Supernova. E&A Mom. Rosie WMVP. Georgie RG. All right. It looks like it's going to be a slow night tonight. Right on. All right. Candace Pena Rice. It's good to see you. All right. So let me go on with this. This is a post. I'll go ahead and actually share it so that you guys can see. All right, so this post was 4 hours ago from Frankie Jr. Okay, and as you guys know, for anybody who doesn't know, if you've been living under a rock, well, Frankie Jr. here is the brother of Shanann Watts, who was a victim a couple years ago of basically family annihilation. So Frankie's sister and two nieces, Bella and Cece, were murdered by their own father and husband. And Shanann was pregnant with a little baby boy named Nico. And since then, um, as we follow a lot of crime cases here, uh, it's something that we do, and I believe very strongly in it. Um, but I believe that it can come from a really positive place and a good place, and I think it's important, in my personal opinion, that we hold ourselves as real crime creators uh, to a certain standard. Um, and and unfortunately, since this unfortunate and rather horrible thing that has taken place to the Rzuceks family, um, they have, on top of this thing, and they're having to live with it. They've had to endure some really awful abuse, uh, threats, and abuse coming in many different ways. And one of the most common ways is people going on YouTube channels and seeing. Basically, that's what took place. There was this case took everybody by storm, and then people started seeing that there was a lot of buzz about this case, and then they started building YouTube channels. And then what they started to do was to get creative. And then somewhere along the way, close to the beginning, shockingly enough, everyone forgot that these were actual people who were seriously affected by a horrible, horrible incident that took place. And their lives are changed forever. Things that made their family whole have been robbed from them, which are these very beautiful souls. And so the what happens is people forget that this is what these people are. And right, mom, I get it, but yeah, once it's closed, that's where the obsession should end. you know Justice was served. There's a lot of other cases out there that really need justice, where the families of victims really need justice, and justice was served here. And when they say so, it is so, because the justice is for them. If it's for anybody, it's for them. They're the ones who suffered loss. They're the ones that suffered loss, nobody else. So if they say, hey, enough is enough, as a decent human being, it's our place to, as decent human beings, it's our place to respect that. It's just simply that way. Why do this if not for the advocacy of victims? Why do this if not for the means to try to do something to at least make a dent to where this isn't going to happen as often as it does? I realize that we can never change human nature. I realize that we're never going to cure sociopathy or psychopathy or psychoapathy. I don't even know how you say it. Psychopaths. They're going to be out there. These very sick people are always going to be out there, and they're going to do horrible things. But why do this if it's not for the sake of trying to at least create enough awareness to where, while these cases are going on, we can try to help these families get justice. But once they get justice, then that's it. And if there's nothing else to do but help bring them justice, like when there's an open case but it kind of goes cold, get creative, find something else to talk about that you can talk about. But if it goes cold, then that's it. It's up to law enforcement. There's nothing left to talk about, and you have, just for the sake of continuing something to talk about on your channel, you're gonna go towards the gossip of the victim's family, or or start throwing accusations at the family of a victim when they could very well be the people that are suffering the most from this? Margot, I couldn't have said that better myself. Once they get justice, they deserve peace. You know, as I said the last time I talked about this, they have yet, this case is 3 years old. They have yet to to mourn the loss of their family members in peace. So I then think about cases like the Summer Wells case, where basically every behavioral expert, every single one that has spoken up regarding Don and Candace Wells, agree that they're being truthful. What else do you need? Now, maybe they're wrong, but wouldn't common sense dictate that your uneducated self is it's less likely the right idea to take that over an expert or numerous ones? You know what I'm saying? Like, why would you not heed that to some degree? Hey, welcome, Jen K. Why would you not do that? You know, and you know, it's not our place to decide whether or not someone's guilty or innocent. It's just not. It's our place to create awareness when there's someone missing, or where it seems like somebody is clearly guilty of something, such as Letitia Stock. The reason why we know that is because if I was on a jury and all I heard was the evidence that I saw that the police have collected in that affidavit, in the original arrest affidavit, that's clearly enough evidence to convict her. So yeah, I'm convinced that she's guilty. But when you have no information, and like I won't call it. I'll call it the Watts case. I won't call it the Chris Watts case because I don't want to give him any more clout. But the Watts case is a situation where the CBI gave us nothing. We were all in a frenzy about it. We had no idea. And then later on, all this discovery was released, right? But prior to that, while the investigation was going on, it was just a whole bunch of rumors and speculation going on all over the internet, right? And we're watching all of Shanann's videos that she posted on social media, which were public. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I get that. But to start creating rumors based on these things because you don't know what was taking place before the camera turned on, and you had no idea what was taking place when the camera was turned off. You have no idea. And this was something that I constantly talked about. Something that I constantly talked about. And then there was just nothing but social media just stirring the pot and throwing just a bunch of stuff and bullshit soup. Basically just creating a bullshit soup is how that went down. You know? And then what happens? He pleads guilty because everyone, make no mistake, I want to be clear about this. Every single person that was following this case as it was happening, either consciously or subconsciously, was expecting a trial. Based on the story that he gave, we were expecting a trial. And what happened was there was a whole bunch of people, the type of people who don't see these people as victims and don't see them as real people with feelings, with lives that are affected. Those are the people that felt disappointed when a trial never took place, when justice was truly served. Because, in my opinion, justice is truly served when the person who is responsible takes responsibility and saves the family from more grief that they've already caused them, takes their punishment, goes away, takes responsibility in a court of law. Judge says, okay, you're sentenced to this much. Boom. The cell is shut. It's over. Right? How's that not nice and clean justice? But what happens here is, instead, people got cheated. They felt cheated. They didn't care about any of that because they didn't consider any of that. That's the exact problem. They didn't consider any of that. They were looking at this like an episode of Dateline or 60 Minutes or whatever. And then, so what happens? He pleads guilty. Then people feel cheated and robbed. And these are, make no mistake, the same people that didn't even consider what this family was going through in the first place, because they wanted a trial, not considering how that trial may cause them to suffer even further, more and more. But they wanted a trial. And when they got cheated out of that trial, well, guess what? They start making shit up. They start making shit up. And it perpetuates. And then every nut job with a lack of common sense jumps on this bandwagon and perpetuates it even more. And then it attracts more nuts. And each time, the nuttier they get, right? Look at Mary Marlowe. Okay? Look at the people following Mary Marlowe. Okay? It just got more and more and more. And the nuttier these people got, the nuttier their behavior became, right? And it was all directed at the Rzuceks. All of it. We're talking swarms of people with no faces. Swarms with no faces attacking these people on one level or another. And here's the thing about that. I'm all for free speech. And don't worry, I am going to get to this post. I'm going to read it. I'm all for free speech. Okay? I'm all for it. Because that's what these people do. These creators, the ones that were really making money off of them, the ones that had like hundreds and hundreds of people in their chat each time they went live and talked about it, right? Their justification for bullying them, for making up stuff, for insulting them, for talking about their personal lives and exposing personal things about them, if not making things up about them, which is slander. As they were doing this, right, their excuse is always, well, you know what? It's free speech. I have the right to say what I have to say. I have the right to do that. Okay. Yeah, you do. But here's the thing is the Rzuceks have just learned and realized that they don't have to take it. Now, maybe you're legally allowed to do that via free speech, but, you know, and maybe you're legally allowed to be an asshole, but it just turns out that they legally have the right to make you pay for being an asshole to them. So there you go. And then it's just so funny. What? You're infringing on my free speech. No, we're not. We're just taxing your ass because you're using my name and you're making my life miserable. So we're going to tax your ass. Open your mouth in any way, shape, or form to where my family suffers, well, you're legally obligated to pay me for it. You don't have to go to jail. You might if you don't pay me, but you're legally obligated now to compensate me for it. You don't get to do that for free. You don't get to just bully people. It just doesn't work like that. These people have realized that they don't have to just take it. And I support them 100%. All right. So Frankie writes, here's an update from my attorneys about my case. There is also an update on the crowdfunding page. I pray this puts an end to all the added harassment, hate, allegations, stress, lies, disgusting rumors, etc. I cannot explain how happy I am to finally get this detailed statement out. So some of the hate channels that I say I don't have a case, or that say that I don't have a case, and that I'm lying, stealing the money, I'm a fraud, and so many more horrible, slanderous lies. I don't want an apology. I just want the hate to stop. I told you I'm a man of my word. I've been nothing but respectful to everyone. Thank you to everyone who continued to stand by my family and myself and didn't believe the disgusting and pathetic lies spread all over the social media platforms. God bless you all. I'm beyond excited about getting justice for not only my family, but to set a precedent to all the people that thought it's okay to torment my parents or myself for 3 long years. Also, to those who still love to kick me while I'm down, mentally harass and abuse me, I will have justice in the court of law. I'm so excited. I'm actually emotional to know that there's finally an end in sight. I can't begin to explain this feeling. I beg people to stop. I've told people that this is literally killing me and my family, that this is also putting our lives in danger. I tried my best to get some kind of help from YouTube, Facebook, and Google, and no one seems to give two shits. They didn't care if we lived or died. They all laughed in my face. Today is the day my family showed the world. We're not going to take this torment any longer. I'm so proud of my parents for their strength through all of this. I'm so grateful for all of the support from amazing people all around the world. You all have not only saved our lives with your love, support, prayers, and respect towards my family, but you all gave us strength, courage, hope, and you give me faith in the human race. You all came together as one enormous family and stood up for our innocent family. I'm forever in your debt. You all seen the justice, hate, lies, slander, and blatant harassment and stood for what's right from wrong. I can't thank you all enough. This means the absolute world to me. The finish line is finally in sight. Together, we can reach our goal on the crowdfunding so my family can finally have some peace and grieve the loss of our beautiful family. God bless you all. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. And then there's the update, which I'll get into in just a second. Exactly, Mr. Harlan. I mean, think about it. 3 years. 3 years. I don't think I could have explained from someone who's never gone through this any clearer, at least a minimum of what you should try to understand about what they might be going through. I couldn't do it. These aren't bad people. You know what I mean? Like, these aren't bad people at all. They're just people. In to say the least, an extremely unfortunate situation. A situation that they sure as hell didn't ask for, but a situation that is hell. It's a living nightmare. You wake up one day, you find out your daughter, your sister, your grandchildren, your nieces, concurrently, they're dead. They're gone. And they were murdered by the one person that vowed to protect them, convinced them all that he was the one that the world provided them to protect their daughter and grandkids. sister and nieces, an unborn nephew and grandson. So to me, when I think about how people, and I did this at one point too, when I was really, really fresh on YouTube. And then I just remember having this moment due to my own behavior, but it was like a flash, boom, like a bolt of lightning hit me. And I was just like, what in the hell is going on here? And how did I like somehow get caught up in that whirlwind and not think anything of it? Like, these are real people, man. These are like, this is not right. Yeah, of course. And it's and I didn't mean to separate them from how, you know, now I can do that now because they've made very clear publicly how they feel about him. And for the right reasons, of course. But you know, yeah, they loved him like a son. They absolutely did. I mean, something that you would never ever, can you imagine that? Something that you can never ever ever see coming. Like the worst possible unreal scenario took place for them. It's crazy. And we just like, we act like it's an episode of Days of Our Lives. Some reality TV show, man. It's crazy. Now, I do love that they've gotten a lawyer. Like, they're not playing around. This is why I'm doing this. Honestly, this is why I'm talking about this, because this should be inspiring to everyone. It should hold as an inspiration to those of us who feel the way that I feel, but it should hold as a warning to those who have no idea about what I'm talking about, like I'm speaking Chinese at them and they're sticking their noses up and hitting the dislike on this video, which is fine. That's cool. Get the algorithm going. I don't care. I mean, that's fine. Like, so, but regardless whether you like it or not, that's okay. Dislike the video, but understand what the deal is at this point. What's happening moving forward? And what's happening moving forward is these people realize that they don't have to take your shit anymore. You don't get to turn a buck on trashing them and making their lives miserable. You don't get to do that anymore. They're robbing you of that. They're making you pay. And it's about time. As far as I'm concerned, it's about time. So I'm trying to find the name. All right. So Cohen Davis, that's the name of the firm. I don't know exactly whether it was Cohen or Davis who wrote this. It doesn't say, but it says a statement about the case of Frankie Rzuceks. Since our firm has taken on the case of Frankie Rzuceks, both our client and ourselves have been inundated, with questions about the case, the legal strategy, and the funding. Whilst we are unable at this stage to comment on the case itself or the evidence, we can provide some general information pertaining to the different stages and the funding. Initial assessment: our firm is known for taking on complex cases involving online discovery, harassment, and defamation. So this is what they do. Whilst we aim to provide legal assistance to as many victims as we possibly can, our in-house team of legal specialists is relatively small, usually between 12 to 15 lawyers and paralegals, which means we have to make sure that our time is being wisely invested. This means that before we can take on a complex case, We must carry out an initial assessment of the evidence and the law to make sure that on the face of it, our client has a reasonably good likelihood of success. An initial assessment often takes a considerable number of hours to complete. We try to reach a decision as accurate as possible. So right there, they're basically assuring the public right now that we wouldn't even take this on unless we were basically sure that they were going to win. Um, we don't have the man hours to just take on every case that lands on our desk, is what they're basically saying. We only have so many man hours, and we're going to make sure that it's not going to be a waste of our time or yours. So that's basically what they're saying here. The decision is based on an overview of the evidence, whilst avoiding going into too much detail, as this could substantially increase the legal cost at a stage where it is not yet clear whether we will be willing to take on the case. Our clients pay for us to carry on the initial assessment. Only after we conclude based on the initial assessment that our client has reasonably good cause to pursue would we agree to take the case on and move it to the next stage. Sometimes individuals who approach us for help are unable to raise the funds for us to carry out an initial assessment of their case. Unfortunately, having a limited amount of resources means that we have to either turn those people away, or in extreme cases of hardship, we would pay for the initial assessment from our own charitable fund. We had this fund set up 10 years ago precisely for this purpose. Fortunately, our client, Mr. Rzuceks, was able to raise funds previously to pursue legal action against his harassers. Mr. Rzuceks was, therefore, able to use those funds to fund the initial assessment stage of the preparation of his case, which required a substantial investment of time. Before we began working on his case, we spoke to Mr. Rzuceks' bank to ensure that the funds which had been sitting there for a considerable amount of time would be sent directly to our firm's client account to carry out the initial assessment. Now, this is going to go into raising funds. Once we agree that the case has reasonably good likelihood of success, we consider together with our client various forms of funding. Litigation cases often consume a considerable amount of time and financial resources to prepare and present. Generally speaking, crowdfunding is a safe way for people to support legal causes that they feel passionate about. If the crowdfunding is done through crowd justice, the money that is being raised goes directly to the regulated law firm's client account, and it can be used to pay for actual legal work. No funds are received or handed by the client directly or indirectly. All right, so that right there basically confirms, I want to be clear about that. Let me repeat that actually. No funds are received or handled by the client, Frankie, directly or indirectly. It goes into a fund. Okay, so that basically dictates that if you are putting your money in there, if you are contributing to this, it basically ensures that it's only being used for this purpose. It's only being used to bring justice against Frankie and the Rzuceks harassers, online harassers. So that's what that is. So right there, basically that squashes the rumor that he's just raising money for whatever he wants. And he may not even put it towards legal funds, that he might blow it on God knows what. That's not true. This confirms that that's not true. And this is a legit website. I can actually share this with you if you want. I'll show you what I'm reading here. Yeah, and this is a this is a firm. This is a firm called Cohen Davis Solicitors. Okay, Internet Law Center, and there's an E at the end. Now it's because I'm guessing because they are located in the UK, and there is one particular creator in the UK, one particular one that they have pretty much had their fill of, and this is who this is going. They're going after this guy. I've never listened to this guy's content because I knew it was trash. All I had to do was listen to people who were talking in favor of him and what he was talking about. I saw that in a chat somewhere, and I was like, I have no interest in listening to this guy because he's garbage. Yes. So let me blow this up a little bit here. Not that you can really see it, but so you can see that headline. It's a legit law firm site. Social media lawyers. This is their specialty. What they do is they deal in social media harassment. So you don't have to take it. You simply don't have to take it. Okay. And this is their plan for preserving the evidence and preparing the case. Once the client manages to secure funding, we move on to the next stage in the preparation, which is the preservation and the detailed consideration of the evidence. This again requires an investment of a considerable amount of time and legal expertise. The next is preparing a statement of the case. Once our lawyers have identified the relevant evidence in the case, the legal team will move to the next stage and draft a statement of case. In most cases, these will be served on the defendant before commencing formal legal proceedings. At this point in the case, we will be reaching out to the defendant with a view of settling the case out of court, which would be our preferred option, particularly if the case is being funded through donations. So that's if this person with two initials out in the UK, if he decides to settle out of court, they can just come to an agreement. And somewhere in that settlement is going to be a cease and desist. That's something I can almost guarantee you. Somewhere in there is going to be some sort of cease and desist to where is no longer allowed to talk about this case. He's no longer allowed to talk about the Rzuceks. He's no longer allowed to do anything publicly. So, hey, look who's here. What's up, Frankie? I'm doing very well. I hope you are too. I can see that you're about to get a lot better, bro. So yeah, man. But I'm right now, what I'm doing is I'm sharing the game plan here of your attorneys, which I like to see. And I like to read that. This is not something you read often. So if you do decide to donate to this cause and you feel strongly against basically online bullies and harassers, operating and monetarily gaining with impunity, this is something that I haven't seen done before, and this is something that's had a long time coming, and this family has every right to do it. And as a matter of fact, I'm rooting for them. So it goes on to say the service of legal pleadings. After the preparation of the statement of case and in the event that the case isn't resolved following the service of a letter before legal action, the next stage in the legal proceedings is the filing of the legal claim, the service of the pleadings, and if needed, an application for summary judgment or a trial. Yeah. So again, that's another step that takes place before you basically serve them and we're going to court. So basically, this is basically explaining the process in the sense that, this is where your money's going if you're contributing, and they're doing everything they can to come to an agreement. But I promise you that even if this doesn't go to trial, in some sort of big lawsuit in court, there's going to be at some point. Basically, I am sure, because the purpose of this, as I read in Frankie's statement that he put out earlier, the purpose of this is to get them to stop. It's not to make money. It's to get them to stop. And if the only way to get them to stop is to threaten to drain them, well, then that's what it takes. But the purpose is to get them to stop. So if we can get them to stop, prior to even having to go to court over it, well, then that's a win, right? A settlement out of court, that is a win. Because I guarantee you that no matter what happens, there will not be an agreement to be agreed upon without the stipulation that there is no more talking about this crap anymore. There's no more rumor spreading. There's no more conspiracy theory spinning. There's no more harassment. And as far as answering questions from the members of the public, each week we receive scores of telephone calls and emails about Mr. Rzuceks' case. Some just contain abuse, while others are inquiries by backers who want to know more about the case and its progress. By law, we are unable to discuss any matter concerning our client without his consent. All right, so yeah, don't call them. Leave them alone. Let them work. Furthermore, as the majority of our work is paid for by generous donations, we must sure that, well, before I read that, let me expand a little bit more on that last thought. When I'm saying don't call them, leave them alone, let them work, let me explain to you why that is. Not that I should have to, but the reason why I'm telling you to leave these people alone and let them work is because they don't have you to answer to. Once you donate this money, be clear. I'm sorry if I'm being harsh about it, but once you donate this money, understand what you're donating it for. What you're donating it for is to get justice. Okay? It's to get the ball rolling, to get this to stop generally. All right? But this particular case is about Frankie and his family. That's what this particular case is about. So the only person that this attorney and his firm owe answers to, the only people, are the Rzuceks. They don't owe you answers. They don't owe me answers. And I'm sure Frankie will share whatever is going to, that whatever he can, that's not going to impede on these attorneys being able to execute what you've donated your money towards doing. Furthermore, as the majority of our work is paid for by generous donations, we must make sure that all the work that we carry out is work that adds value, which helps to progress our client's case. Very important. It's basically what I just said. It is therefore impossible for us to engage in conversations with every person who calls or emails us. For these reasons, we are unable to discuss our client's matter on the phone or respond to third parties' emails about the case, as these could either result in a breach of our client's confidentiality or be considered unnecessary work, which does not help progress our client's case. And also, if you're slowing down, it's costing more money. These people get paid by the hour. So let me see here. Frankie's saying, my attorneys are bringing in the best of the best. The one they just brought in has just worked a case for Meghan Markle, Prince Harry's wife. Wow. Okay. I'd say that's pretty reputable right there. That's nice. That's a nice resume. So yeah. So I love to see that this guy is putting out a game plan here, right? He's showing you what's going to happen. All right. And as I just said so, but I want to reiterate this. There's a part in there that guarantees that this money, if you donate, it goes to a fund, okay, directly towards Frankie's case. Frankie nor any member of his family has any access to this money. They don't have any access to it. So that's a squash to all the rumors that this is some sort of scam to get them, to line money in their pockets. That's not what this is at all. These people have jobs. You know what I'm saying? These people have jobs. All they want to do is be able to go to work on a good night's sleep. That's it. That's all they want to do. They want to go to work on a good night's sleep. Don't we all have the right to that? I mean, Am I crazy? Yeah, Cherry, nobody cares. Nobody cares. I'm just kidding. Not only does the money go straight to lawyers, it goes straight to his case and whatever's needed for it. That's where it goes. That's where it goes. Yeah. Can you imagine not being able to grieve from, okay, it's one thing. All right. And this is, I mean, I realize some people are probably going to be like, why would you make that analogy? But bear with me here. I mean, because it's valid. Whether you like it or not, it's valid. Okay. Like a grandmother who dies of natural causes, right? You have a grandmother who dies of natural causes. And for some reason, at no point for 3 years, at least 3 years running, okay, your phone won't stop ringing. You won't stop getting emails. You can't stop getting these weird, harassing, all this talk about your grandma, right? All this talk about your grandma. You know, you're like, just 1 minute would I like to just like lay down and just reflect, you know, and just spend some time for me and face and cope of not having my grandma around anymore. Because it's a part of life. I get it. She died in natural causes. She's old. That's life, right? But you never even get a chance to process that, right? Never ever. For 3 years, you never have a moment to process it. Now, let's paint another picture. Let's say it's not your grandmother. Let's say it's your sister. Your sister who's in the prime of her life. 2 kids, young mother, 2 small kids, 2 nieces of yours. And this dude that you fist bumped with and hung out with, talked with, you loved him because your sister loved him. This guy betrays you in the most horrific, most disgusting, most cowardly way that any person breathing could ever possibly do. And for 3 years, you never even get a chance to process that and try to build yourself off of that grief to become a stronger person. To be able to take that scar and use it as something to learn from and strengthen you for any trials to come later on. Because if you go through that, that is, God forbid, the worst thing that you could go through. In my opinion, one of the worst things that you could ever possibly go through. And you are robbed of the chance of allowing that to strengthen you, even though you may be choosing to and knowing that that's the right thing to do. Rather than feel sorry for yourself, what you do is you want to build strength from that, yet you never ever get to do it. You never get the chance because people keep emailing you. People keep telling lies about you all over the internet because and you can't escape from it because everything is the internet today. Somebody's going to come and email you. Did you hear what this person said about you? You hear this person who's on a live stream right now and what they're saying about your sister? About her kids? And this is on a constant, all the time, getting thrown at you every second, all the time, 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 all the time. Has anybody stopped to think of that? I think it's their time, man. It's long overdue. Just where I'm at. It's long overdue. And I think that the people who contributed this, because I can't tell you how many times ever since I separated from that one creator who will remain nameless, ever since I separated from that person, or that's debatable as well, but ever since I separated from them on YouTube, I have been speaking on this all the time. I have been speaking against this so-called Watts Island bullshit that takes place all the time. I've been on here 3 years. I've been on here 3 years. And I have been speaking against it the entire time. There is no conspiracy. The only people that get to dictate whether or not justice has been served or whether it has not been served are this family. And they say justice has been served. They also say that the only justice that hasn't been served is the fact that you won't accept it and move on, and how it's affecting them. Thank you, CeeLo. Appreciate that. I mean, that's just how it is, man. I'm not even trying to paint a picture a certain way. This isn't even a perspective. This is all fact. This is indisputable fact. You don't get to do that. That's their call. Period. That's their call. They say justice has been served as far as the eyes of the law go. Homeboy is locked away. He's never getting out, period. And on top of all the grief that you're giving them on the surface, inadvertently what you're doing is giving this asshole who's behind bars exactly what his narcissistic ass wants. More attention. You don't think that brings this dude some peace of mind, laying in a cell, knowing that everybody loves talking about him? You don't think he gets off on that? I don't want this dude doing easy time thinking that there's people out here that love him. You know what I'm saying? I don't want that. Now, he has the right to have people love him, sure. I'm not saying that. But to sit there and give him what he wants in the sense of notoriety, which is exactly what he's enjoying, there's no way you're going to tell me he's not. There's just no way you're going to tell me he's not. And you're giving him that. And all you that are trying to say that he's innocent, that's just plain stupidity. And I mean, you have a right to your opinion. You have a right to your opinion, even though your opinion is based on imaginary bullshit because the evidence is all there. There's is it 300 pages, the discovery? Read it. Look at it. Don't just make up what you think that should say. It's there. Period. You're not a professional. The people charged with the responsibility of bringing the Rzuceks justice, they're the professionals, and they got it done. Nice and easy. Save them the pain. Chris Watts himself, yes, he deserves some credit for saving them the pain of having to go through a trial. All because, and this is all going on because you feel cheated that you didn't get the drama of a trial. And that's all this is. And you're never going to tell me anything else because that's all this is. It's all it's ever been about. I was an admin in a group for this case. And everybody basically shit a Miata as soon as they saw that Chris Watts pleaded guilty because it shattered every little crazy theory that they had in their head. Shattered it. And then everybody started going nuts. Everybody went crazy. And that's when the rumor mill really started to, man, it was ugly. It was crazy. And I'm sitting there going, well, it's over. It's over. Next case. CeeLo, welcome. Oh, I meant to. And you know how I know that that's the truth? You know how I know that these people feel cheated out of a trial? And that's what this all came to? Is because these assholes did a mock trial. They did a mock trial. Can you think of anything more disrespectful to this family? Can you think of anything? So this family is spared the pain and anguish of months of having to look at this dude every day in a courtroom and hear details of the senseless crime that took place against their family members. And so what do? You go, well, screw that. We're going to do one anyway. A bunch of idiots are going to get together on YouTube and do that anyway. Like, yeah, you guys deserve everything you're getting. Everything you're getting, in my opinion. You deserve everything. Every hardship that's coming, you deserve it. You have it coming. I'm looking forward to it. It's like an upcoming boxing match that I'm looking forward to. That's how, sorry, Frankie, for putting it like so shallow, but that's what it is for me too. Besides how passionate I feel about this, I'm just looking forward to seeing a good ass whooping. I don't even know how else to put that. And it's fun. It's fun. I'm not even trying to lie about it. I sure hope so. Like, how long do you think you're going to get away with stuff like that? You know what I mean? Like, how long do you think you could possibly get away with stuff like that? Because if I've got an overwhelming voice in my head that says, don't do this stuff, and therefore I don't, there's got to be at least a little one in here that's like, all you got to do is just shut this off. Just talk about something else. Anything else. You can talk about anything else as long as it doesn't victimize anybody. Right? But this person is like, nah. Because there's too much money being made. But this is what you get for not listening. Not listening to that little voice. This is what you get. And I think it's hilarious. I think it's tragic that it had to come to this. That's so much. I think it's tragic that the things that took place that got us here happened. But now that we're here, I think it's hilarious that it's coming back full circle. I think it's great. I think it's hysterical. So, and I'm going to keep talking about it. Any progress? I told you, this is real crime, people. What we look for is justice here. This counts as a crime case. It does. Whether there's criminal charges pressed or not, it doesn't matter. Somebody who's committed a crime of harassing somebody for 3 years is finally going to get their dues. At one point, can you imagine this? At one point, this family sat here beaten down by the grief that they were already experiencing. And then this is happening, and they're completely convinced that their hands are bound behind their backs about it. And then one day they realize, no, they're not. No, they're not. This is what I can do, and I'm going to do it. And now they're doing it. And now you're fucked. So, and I think it's fucking great. I think it's great. I hope all these. I wish Shane Carey would have done that. Man, I wish to God Shane Carey would have done that. The boyfriend of Heidi Broussard, whose best friend Megan Faramuska had killed her and stolen her baby, and the baby's father was getting dragged and blamed all over the internet for having done something to her. until they actually found her and what happened. Nobody apologized to this guy. Believe that? Nobody ever apologized to this guy. This guy was such a good dude that he was just like, I'm just glad to be left alone. I just want to raise my son because now I don't, or my daughter, Margot. I want to raise her because I didn't prepare for the fact that I'm going to have to raise her without her mother. I have to focus on that. He could have sued, but he didn't do that. And I don't think any less of him either way. Part of me wishes he would have, but I totally understand it. I understand that he has a baby infant girl that he needs to focus on. That is a sound decision to make. Morally, logically. And yet these people just got to do whatever they did to him and not pay any consequences for it. For the sake of $5 here and $10 there, or $2 there, for that. Dude, I'm going to cover every second of that. And I'm going to have a ball doing it. It's going to be great. Like, I love it. Frankie's like, if you're going to make a show out of me, I'm going to make a show out of you. Good on you, dude. Good on you, bro. I think that's great. Oh, hey, Sandra. Yeah, see, Inverted Earth is saying, I've had a saying for crazy people in my life. I see you're crazy and I raise you psycho. It's the only thing that crazy will run from. Well, I mean, yeah. I thought you were going somewhere else before I should have finished reading that before I talked about it. But I thought you were going somewhere else with that. And part of what I'm thinking is, it brings me to the thought that the observation that, I talk about this all the time. I talk about how easy it is for me to just cut toxic people out of my life. It is that easy. I'm just like, later, bye, gone, block, you're out of my life. It's easy. Imagine having a swarm of people that are toxic to you that you can't. You're robbed of that luxury that I'm always telling you that you have. All of you people that haven't gone through what this man and his family have gone through, all of you have that luxury of just being like, dude, I don't need this. I don't need this in my life. Thank you, Into the Wild Blue. Let me see. When people stand up when people stand up, that's when things start changing. We all need to stand up and say F you to the ignorance. I agree. And I think what Frankie's doing here is pioneering. I think what he's doing here is pioneering because like I said, I'm hoping that other victims will see this example. And I'm glad, I hate that this case was so big that it affected their lives the way that I did, but I'm glad that it is someone involved in a case this big that's setting this example because it's what it takes to get the right attention. So it's kind of a silver lining, if you will. So now you've got this person that is in one of the most high profile, involved in one of the most high profile cases ever in the true crime community, because real crime, we don't talk about the Watts case because it's closed. So there's no need to, because we're logical here in the real crime community. That's true crime stuff. We don't do that here. But in the true crime community, now, hopefully what this will do is set an example for other victims' families who have to do this, and this will help change the way things are done on YouTube. It will put creators in the right path, make them open their eyes and see how these families are actually affected, and also that they don't need to take it. And it gives these grieving families something to stand up for and fight for, which is their right to grieve in peace. It's absolutely their right. It's true. YouTube doesn't care. They don't. They honestly don't. Um, at least not. That's the problem. Is at least not the bots that they have running it, and they literally have bots running it. So of course they don't care. If it makes money, that's what happens. Somebody in YouTube has to actually care. Yeah, I mean, good luck with that. Good luck with that. But I hope it happens, because there needs to be some changes here too. There just do. I'm grateful for this platform. I'm grateful that I have a voice, and I don't mind paying the house their 30%. I don't mind that at all. I'm cool with that. But they need to be fair in the way that they do things, and they could use a lot of improvement in the way that they handle things. And they could use a lot of improvement in the way that they handle victims. Yeah, that's the difference. That's the difference, man. Well, I'm going to go ahead and call it, guys. Frankie, keep on keeping on, man. And again, anytime that you ever want to come up here, we'll set something up. It's more of an invite than a request. I'm perfectly happy coming up here and just talking about what I see, but my platform is yours if you ever need it. And I am in 100% support of you and your family and what you're doing. So, everybody, thanks for joining me tonight. I really appreciate it. And we will do this again very soon, my friends.